Alright, this intro ended up being a little too long, so I'm just gonna put some bullet points and timestamps on screen. Alright, here we go. Hello. So originally I wanted to make a video on the Hima badge, but the attempts haven't been going too well, to the point that I'm actually running out of storage on my computer. So while I'll still be doing more attempts for the Hima badge, and probably have to delete some of the footage, in the meantime, I figured I could make a tier list video on the pressure modifiers too. So for this tier list, I didn't really have any good icons to use, so I just ended up taking snippets of the icons of the modifiers in game. And to avoid confusion, I'll put some text on screen naming the modifiers when I talk about them, as well as showing a list at the end of the video on where I rated each of them. And you might also notice a couple things here, like where's the admin panel and streamer polls? And why do I have landmines here twice? Well, I mean, the admin panel and streamer polls aren't really there to obtain chrono or badges with, so it's kind of pointless to rate them. As for the two landmines, there are two different modifiers. They just happen to use the same icon. So yeah, good reason to put text on screen when I talk about them. As for how I'm going to be rating these modifiers, it'll be based on how easy they are to deal with and how much percent they give towards boosting your chrono. Also, on an unrelated note, I'm trying to raise funds for an ill cat, so if you want to help, check out the GoFundMe in the description if you can. I'll also personally be donating 1 cent for each subscriber gained until the end of August. Anyway, with that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed the video. Alrighty, so... oh, there's my cursor. My cursor is visible. Alright, just have to move it around. So, I've got this list here. These are the names. And here we got the modifiers. So, first we have up the ante, which basically causes node entities to spawn more frequently. But we also have up the hate. Personally, I don't find them that different. Like, they don't affect my gameplay as much. It's not that noticeable. Like, maybe depending on what other modifier you use, like for example, like pure pandemonium, or having the rooms activated, it might cause some issues. But on its own, I don't think it's that dangerous, either of them. Just having like a couple more anglers in a run, that doesn't really make a difference to me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm literally gonna put up the ante in no thanks. It's not a hard modifier, but we have up the hate, and it just gives more percent. It rewards you more for not being that impactful. Not for me, at least. So I would probably put this in easy to deal with. I would put it in free kroner, but like, it's situational, because having hunted guest stars rooms or pure pandemonium can actually make this one difficult. But if it wasn't for any of those activated, then it's pretty free. So yeah, we just put it in easy to deal with, just a middle ground. Then there is so much variety. Free kroner. It just removes the regular angler. I have no issues with any of the variants of the anglers, at least. So it's pretty free. Yeah. And there is sneak attack, which causes nodes to spawn in the front. Also free. A lot of free ones to start off with. Like, frontal anglers don't really make that much of a difference, unless you're doing lockerless. But I haven't done lockers in a long time. If you are doing lockerless, this is probably like one of the worst ones to have. Depending on what you're doing. Because if you have pure pandemonium activated, and you're trying to do lockerless, which I don't know why you would use pandemonium, that's gonna ruin your safe spots, but like, if you have pure pandemonium, that's the only thing that's gonna spawn in. And pure pandemonium apparently does not work with sneak attack. So sneak attack would actually do absolutely nothing with pure pandemonium. So it is very free, this. Well, at least for me. You know, this is my opinion after all. Maybe you don't get the sound cues that easily when something spawns in front of you. I can hear that really well, so it brings me no issues. Yeah. So here's an interesting one finally. Hunted, which causes Pipsqueak to spawn in, and how Pipsqueak works is it's like Pandemonium, but without the minigames. You hop in a locker, it will see you from any distance, unless you're like in cover. It uses the same like sight mechanic of Pandemonium. and then it charges at you. You have to hide in a locker. It just slams the locker once, and then it moves away. The issue though that I have, because I actually struggle with this one. I find Pipsqueak very quiet. Like, the moment I notice Pipsqueak is when he's like 1 or 2 rooms behind me, on its way, and then I could die very easily. I need to keep my ears out a lot of the time, just for this one. Just for this creature. And you don't get light flicker warning. What you can do to make it easier is have a toy remote, buy it from the start, or you use the friendly modifier, and then have an imaginary friend or imaginary friends warn you for a spawn. That can be helpful. So some people will find it easier to deal with. I don't like Pipsqueak. I really don't. It can sneak up on me really easily. And it's like, what, 10%? You get 10% for it? It was like 15%. It's 10%. Yeah, it's not that much. It brings me a lot of risk. And then there's Gom. Not sure how I feel about Gom. Like, I struggled with it in the past because I just don't pay attention, or maybe had a lot of things happening at once. But the more recent games I've used Gom, I don't struggle with it, but it's really, really inconvenient. Probably put it here. I have to constantly pay attention to a timer. It's like management. And there's other modifiers that you probably shouldn't combo with, because if you have like hot potato or which one is it? The clock. The clock is also like a management one because it's the rat from Grace, Joey, the one that like screams. You have to like make it shut up. If you have a bunch of modifiers activated for management and conundrum, then it's gonna be too much. So if you have a bunch of those things, Gom would be pretty difficult. Just don't do that. You'll do better. But having to like constantly scout for lockers a bunch, and then timing lockers with potential spawns or just sitting still, it can like delay your run. And the more time you take in a run, the more other things can happen that will kill you. So I don't really like it. I don't hate it. I can live with it. It's just not that fun of a modifier. Even though it's like 15%. Like, you could use it if you have to. And then there is the... what is this one called? Tight security? Yeah. It replaces all the key cards with passcodes. It's just only passcodes spawn in. It's 5%. You just put in some numbers. It makes like no difference. If you're even really fast at putting in the code, it's probably faster than using a key card. So, really not an issue. Pretty free. And then this is light work. And it causes more dark rooms to spawn in. And didn't have a side effect. I thought a light work... okay, no, that's... forget to pay the bills. Never mind, I'm reading wrong. Nodes can spawn in dark rooms. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Node spawning in dark rooms can be a little scary. If you get a couple dark rooms in a row and you're far away from one that has lights, you're not gonna hear a light flicker warning. So it can be a bit scary. It also depends on what you're using. If you have like budget cutbacks, which one was that? Was it this one? Honestly, not sure. Budget cutbacks reduces the battery life on your light sources. So if you're not using that and you're used to noticing spawns, even in dark rooms, just like in the ridge, for example, it's probably not that difficult. But it can like make spawns happen at any point, which removes some safety. I'm honestly not sure because I don't use these two. Because this one is forgot to pay the bills where everything is dark. So since I don't really use them, I don't have a great opinion about them. So I would say this is probably a slight inconvenience or easy to deal with. For now, I'll put it here because I just don't use it. I don't have experience, so it's probably an inconvenience for me. Forgot to pay the bills, everything is dark. You're gonna have to rely a lot on light sources. And if you're like using mines or subspace mines, those hazards can be really scary. So it's probably somewhat difficult. I think that's fine. This is closed for the night, which makes it so Sebastian's shop no longer has Sebastian in it. You can't buy items. It's 5% though. 5% to no longer get a shop in the middle of your run. You can buy batteries, you can potentially buy a medkit or sprint or peristhecine, the red needle that heals you fully, or maybe a new light source. I don't find it worth it. Like, if you have a lot of kroner and you can buy stuff from the start, a bunch of batteries, light sources, then it's probably fine to use, but I don't think it's worth it. It can be free kroner for anyone that can afford a bunch of items at the start, but if you're like wanting to save up some kroner, probably shouldn't use it. So it's pretty much a coin flip on no thanks or free kroner. Personally, I do like the shop, so I'd rather not use it. It's 5%. I can probably live without that and use a bunch of other things to get the 4 stars. Then there's Paranoia. And Paranoia is gonna kick you out of lockers faster. Because you have that, oh god, how do I pronounce it? I had a comment about this. Let me look that up. God, where is it? Had to be here. Alright, here we go. Cleithrophobia. Cleithrophobia. That effect. That's the reason you get kicked out of lockers faster. You get like scared in it or anxious or something. And then the character jumps out. So it basically, what it comes down to is you have to time lockers. It's almost free or easy to deal with. I'm gonna put it in free kroner. If you combo it with something bad like maybe ads, because if you don't have a safe spot or a pandemonium safe spot and you have to use a locker, what I usually like to do is I hop in a locker while I have an ad if I really have to, just in case something spawns in. But that's like a rare scenario. Or for example, having GOM activated in Paranoia might not be a great combo. Like, imagine an angler spawns in and you have to step in a locker, and then right as the angler passes, GOM spawns in and does his whole scan thingy. And then right as he does that, Paranoia kicks out the locker and then GOM does damage to you. That's not a great combo to have. So be careful of what you pick. And that's it, it's pretty free. And then, what is this? A medkit. Right, natural resistance. It basically cuts the amount of health you get from healing items in health. So, a Neo stick, or sticks, I don't remember with a K at the end or an X, but a Neo stick, medkit, parenthesine, it's gonna heal for 10, 37 and a half, and 50, respectively. If you don't take damage during runs much, it is free. If you sometimes take damage, easy to deal with, it's really dependent. Not gonna say I'm a gamer god. I'm just gonna say it's easy to deal with. There are occasional moments where I take a damage, but like, usually it's like, I do something wrong with a generator, take like 5 damage. Maybe rarely get attacked by a squirrel with squid plus modifier. I can heal that back. And very rarely goofing up and stepping on a landmine. So it's easy to deal with. 5% is pretty nice. And then there is, what is his name? Good people don't end up here. So it removes like almost every cue you get from a fake door. It removes the sparking, it removes the scan lines that I rely on, and growls. So you have to listen for breathing noises behind the door. I don't like that. I never really use it unless someone else uses it and I'm in their run. But I haven't actually had issues dealing with it. The only thing I am like afraid of is having something spawn in, wanting to get to a safe spot, wanting to go to the next room, and then having to listen for breathing might take too long while an angler is on its way. So I'll put it in easy to deal with. It can probably be very free, but I just don't like it. Just meh. And then there's Redeemer, which literally just makes you have to press E more. Press E. Just press E. It's still press E, just a little more. Or tap, or whatever console you're using. Whatever button. Just more button presses. You can also... I didn't know about this before. But with Redeemer, you can also actually, like, back off slowly, which buys you more time. So it probably won't kill you. It's pretty free. And then there is turret upgrades, right? Yeah, this is a turret. I don't like it. It's 5%, but what it does is it makes the turrets no longer have a laser or a light. I mean, it could be worse. The reason I don't put it like somewhat difficult is because I've played the pressure so much that some of the turret rooms, I know exactly where the turret is gonna like pop out and start rotating. So I know when to take cover and when to proceed in some rooms. So that makes it a lot more easy to deal with. I would rather use something else than this though. Then there's free trial. How much did this give? Like 10% or 15%? 10%. Alright, so every 15 minutes you get an ad. Before I got like a 7-second ad, but you can also get like 30-second ads. Got that recently. Don't combo it with something bad like 3 AM challenge. Hello, editing gnome here. So Pressure had an update and they did a bunch of bug fixes and also added the new modifiers that replaced the old Garage ones that got removed. So the timing of making this video is kind of bad, but if I get something wrong, I'm gonna like put a little correction on screen. Just keep in mind you're gonna get an ad, look at the timer every once in a while, sit in a PSS if you can, and just wait until the ad happens and then proceed. Pretty easy to deal with if you're paying attention. So yeah, easy to deal with or free kroner. Probably, I mean, if you're going for like something like 4 stars, then maybe I'd put it like here. I'd prefer not to use this. I mean, who likes ads anyway? But if you're doing like a casual run, then, you know what, I'm gonna put this here. Like, it's 10%. If you're doing a casual run, there's like so many other options you could be choosing from than ads. This feels more like a filler that you would use just to get the 4 stars. So I'm gonna put this here. And then there's guest stars rooms. So that gives you a 60. I can see the static warning very easily, so that's not an issue for me. Then there is Bleach, who darkens your screen and makes it like black and white. Chromatic, is that the word? Then we have No Good, which is like the hand guy that spawns behind the door sometimes, and then you have to like wait a second before you open the door. Otherwise you get punched. And A200, the scribbly face, which basically works as a pandemonium that spots you across the map. It will go straight for you and you have to go in a locker. But it gives you like a little staticky warning. It's like Pipsqueak if he actually gave a warning and also was pretty loud and also slower. Like he doesn't charge at you as fast as Pipsqueak does. Just get in a locker, you don't do a minigame, and yeah, you're good. Just don't use rooms if you do lockerless, because one A200 will ruin your lockerless run. By the way, I've mentioned lockerless. I don't know if people know this. I read this on like the Discord. But if you do modifiers with 2 stars or higher, you can actually get the lockerless badge. So that's pretty cool. Don't use this, not for lockerless. But I would say, if you're careful, easy to deal with. And also if you're me, of course. Conundrum. So I got the badge like really early on. Apparently for Conundrum's badge you needed like, what was it? 2 stars? And you needed to do like every minigame without failing. And then you get the badge. But like back then it was like bugged or something and like one person had to beat the minigame in your run in order for that to count. Or like each minigame. And if someone else failed it, it didn't matter, you still get the badge. Now like everyone in the round has to do the minigame successfully, otherwise you don't get the badge. But back then you had like, I think the 3rd or 4th time Conundrum spawns in, like the 4th mask minigame, had like these really subtle eyes in a mask. Because how the minigame works is you get like 30 layers of masks that will rotate around you and you have to find the odd one out and like stare at it for a moment. And you need to do like 3 or 4 times? 4 times. And like the eyes were really hard to see. I heard from someone else that the eyes were only visible like 1/3 of the time. Not sure what they meant with that. Personally, I barely struggle with that minigame. I do have my moments where I just cannot find like the last odd one out mask on like the 4th mask spinny thing. So if you're good at Conundrum, then yeah, it's probably pretty free or easy to deal with. It's a bit risky, because if you fail the minigame, you get a random modifier that gets activated. And it doesn't tell you. So like you could be in the middle of a good run, you fail one Conundrum, and then suddenly Not for Broadcast activates in the ridge, and then your whole run is ruined. potentially, unless you're good at it. So it can really suck. It's situational, it's RNG. You just need to be good at the game and get lucky if you fail a minigame. I would say slight inconvenience or easy to deal with, like right in between here. There should be like a separate tier maybe. It is a gamble. You know, just because it's a gamble, we're gonna prepare for the worst case scenario. Might be very inconvenient. Alright, let me just put these here. Really free. I never struggled against a normal infestation, and I hardly ever struggle against enraged infestation. Unless you watch my TBRS video, because I had, where is it? Noodle legs activated, which causes you to ragdoll when you take damage. If you see that one part of my video where I had like enraged infestation in both the normal and side room and like the trenches, that caught me off guard. Besides that, I never struggle. I can control my mouse really well. Unless it's outraged infestation, that one gives me some struggles, definitely. But that's not a modifier, so these are really free. If you use noodle legs, be a bit more careful. It's free kroner. Actually, I'm gonna do the same treatment I did with up the anti and put this here because you can't use always infestation and enraged infestation at the same time. So I'm gonna use enraged. Yeah. And then navigation malfunction. It is free. It is free. However, I don't like it. I'm gonna put this here. I'll put it above free trial. So the thing is, I don't want to use it. I'd like to know where I am in my run. And there's also a nice workaround with friendly, because friendly spawns an imaginary friend every 20 doors. So if you have one friend, you're at the first door in the game. You have 2 friends, you had 20. 3 friends, you had 40, etc. You can just count the imaginary friends to know, like, in what increment of 20 doors you are at. So you can kind of work around it. I don't like this. I want to know where I'm at. I'm only using this if I'm going for 4 stars. And that's it. Alright, this is budget cutbacks. So what did it do again? Yeah, okay, less battery. It is half as long, like the battery duration on your items. So I was right about that. I wanted to make sure if it was actually hell for people like, I don't know, 3/4. But yeah, it's not that hard. Like, in my items tier list thingy, I rated the lantern as F tier because I sucked against squiddles. I don't anymore. Lantern has a lot of battery life. So even with like budget cutbacks, if you just buy some more batteries, it's pretty fine actually. Why is this not working anymore? Alright, here we go. It's kind of a toss between using this for 4 stars or actually using this in the game. I'm probably gonna put this here. I don't hate it that much. I just wouldn't want to use it when I can pick other things. So, what is that? Night light off. So this one causes trip mines on doors to no longer glow. It doesn't give that orange glow anymore. So just look at the bottom right of doors and you'll notice it. It's not that hard. I'm gonna say easy to deal with, just because it requires some attention. It's not the freest thing ever. And this is painter pop-ups, right? Yeah, art portfolio. It gives you 15%, which is pretty good. Okay, never mind, it gives 10%. Really? 10? I thought it was 15. Am I crazy? I really thought it was 15. Alright, anyway, it's easy to deal with. Just gotta click every once in a while. It doesn't take much space on your screen. Sometimes I even just forget it's there. I like click it later when I'm doing something. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't even block you when you're doing a minigame. Like, imagine if it blocked like the center of your screen and you can see the Pandemonium minigame. Then I would put it a lot lower, but nah, it's really easy. Just click away a pop-up, that's it. Alright, door stuck. It's free. Kick away the door. You're good. It might stall you a little bit if you're like in a rush and trying to run away from an incoming entity, but like, if an entity is close enough to catch you while you're kicking out the door, then you were probably not going to make it into the next room, even if the door opened on its own. Like, it takes a second to kick down the door. It doesn't stall you enough to make a difference against an incoming entity. It would probably be your fault for trying to keep going at that point. And then glue, which causes drawers to sometimes get stuck and you need to like open it multiple times before it actually opens. Need to interact a bunch. It can be inconvenient or easy to deal with. Usually this is a modifier that I'll use for free. I sometimes avoid it when I'm like trying to get kroner because I want to loot for research because every 25 research you get like 1 kroner from that. So it would make money, and then having drawers not open would really stall. So I'm gonna put like a little middle ground of just easy to deal with. If I'm trying to loot for kroner, it's an inconvenience. If I'm just trying to complete a run, it's just a free modifier, 5%. However, if you're using explosive storage, it's a little bit scary. Having to like repeatedly open a drawer, which could at any point just blow up when it opens. That might make it even more difficult. But you just gotta be careful. Should be easy to deal with. If you're using explosive storage, I would put it lower here. Which, to be fair, I use explosive storage often. So, you know what, I'm gonna put it in slight inconvenience. And then wet floor, I'll clean. This basically has the same effect as good people don't end up here, but for void lockers. Void lockers have like warnings where they'll do like this little weird muffled humming noise or whatever, and they'll have like a puddle of water underneath the locker, and you can also just see them in the locker with purple eyes or red, green. Was there a yellow variant? But yeah, with this modifier, you don't get the puddle at the locker, and you don't get noise. So you have to rely on looking into the locker to see if there's a pair of eyes in there, which I always did to begin with when I check if a locker is safe. So this doesn't affect me. It is free for me. Butterfingers. So this makes it so there's a chance that when you try and hold out an item, it will drop it onto the ground. And I have never used this modifier. I don't know how inconvenient it is, or what even the percentage is of items slipping out of your hands. I would probably not want to use it, because it seems like a real inconvenience, so I'll just like put it. Actually, I'm gonna put it here, because I never use it. If I really had to use it, it would be for a 4-star run, but even then I have found other combinations to avoid this. Maybe they should go like a tier of modifiers I will never use. I don't know. Squid Plus. It basically makes squiddles get angered more quickly and like attack you. So be careful. I've probably been attacked like twice ever with Squid Plus. My reaction speed is pretty good. I'd never get attacked except for those 2 times. So it's pretty free, honestly. The only reason I put it in easy to deal with is I want to see where I'm going, and if a squiddle's gonna be in the way, that's gonna make things a little annoying. But I can always like use a flash beacon if I find one, or just look away with a light source, unless I'm using a lantern, which I have been using a lot. But yeah, easy to deal with. Sitcom. I'm gonna say it's free. Like, oh, okay, it works. Thought I broke something. Yeah, it's pretty free. What it does is if you take damage, it will play a laugh track, which makes it hard to hear things for a moment. But I don't take damage often, so yeah, it's pretty free. Even if like a sound cue from an incoming angler gets blocked, I have death mode enabled, so I'll see fog on my screen. So I'll probably have still enough time to react. Yeah. This is freeze frame, right? And how much percent was that? Wow, 5%. What it does is if you take damage, your screen like freezes for a second and does a weird little disorienting fade out, which is actually not that nice. It's not nice. If you're in danger and you take damage, then you're not gonna be able to see what you're doing for a moment, and that could get you killed. This is a modifier I've also like used maybe like once ever, unless the chaos modifier forces me to use it. Is that even an effect? I don't remember. But yeah, I wouldn't use this. This is one of the modifiers I avoid. I don't think it's that bad. I don't like it though. If I did like use it regularly, it would be like an inconvenience, but like in casual runs, I don't want to use these two. And in 4-star runs, I can do different combinations. And then this is Restless Dreams. I think this will be the first modifier that I'm gonna put in no thanks, not just because it's kind of silly to use. I just think this modifier is actually bad. And what it does, it gave you like 10%, right? Yes, you get 10% to your Kroner boost, but it adds like a fog. And in like lit up rooms, it's not bad. But when you get to dark rooms, it is horrible. If you don't have a light source in a dark room with Restless Dreams, you will not see a thing. Like, you would probably have to like crouch and slowly move through a dark room if you have like landmines enabled. I would never recommend to use this. Like, you're gonna need a light source all the time, and like almost every modifier combined with Restless Dreams makes for a really bad combo. You don't want to have mines. You don't have, especially not subspace trip mines. That is especially awful. You don't want to have like the, where is it? Light work, or forgot to pay the bills. It's gonna give more dark rooms. It's gonna be hard to find lockers. It makes things hard. You need to be able to see what you're doing to keep yourself safe, and Restless Dreams will ruin that. Just everything becomes more difficult. I don't like it. Don't use it. I don't know if that's a skill issue. I've hardly played with this modifier. So yeah. And then there is, I assume this is the 4 items. Shallow pockets, yeah. It allows you to hold 4 items, which I don't really use. I don't think I've ever used this one, like ever. Not even someone else's run, just like Butterfingers. How much percent is this? 5%. 5% for 4 items, it probably would not make a difference for me. Though in some runs I'm like hoarding items, I have like a lantern, I'll keep like the red toy remote or even the blue one if I find it, just for the sake of if I die or someone else does, I can give that to them for their Kroner boost. So if I did use it, I might not carry the remotes anymore. That's the only thing. But I feel like there's other modifiers to use, so it's a really easy one. It barely affects the gameplay, because if I really need items, the ones I'm gonna need is a light source, and optionally some sort of healing, or maybe a sprint if I just want to speedrun. So it doesn't affect me. Actually, no. Hold on, this is for 2 hands. I'm gonna put this in no thanks. It's super easy, but we have, you only have 2 hands, which you can use these of course at the same time. And this one is very depending on what I'm doing, because I would use this for getting 4 stars. I wouldn't use this in a normal run. But it's not a difficult one. Since I don't really like these two, I'm gonna put this here. Because for 4 stars, I'm only gonna carry 2 items that I'm really gonna need. I'm gonna need a light source to see what I'm doing, and a defibrillator in case someone dies. Actually, no, this is for 4 stars, but like, I'm thinking of TBRS, right? For TBRS, I'm gonna need the defibrillator. I guess for a 4-star run, I guess it still works. Instead of a defibrillator, I might carry a healing item. Or a second light source, maybe, if I have like budget cutbacks. And if I take damage, I'll probably find like a medkit on the way, or buy it from Sebastian if I don't have this enabled. So, it's not a bad modifier. It's just that other modifiers can be better, more easy on you when you do a casual run. So, just put it here. It's not a bad choice. Not at all. And this is, I always come back. Oh god. If you've seen the video, you know I hate this one. What it does is it spawns a purple Vault Dweller every time, and it is like immortal, it cannot die. It will like keep sneaking up on you, so you have to like watch your back through the entire run. It gives 15%, right? Yeah. But it's kind of like another management thing, you're just like GOM. Except this one is actually scary, because if you don't pay attention, you're gonna get killed. Just you don't take a bit of damage, you just die. So I'm gonna put this either slight inconvenience or somewhat difficult. Like, this is not even something I would use for 4 stars. I like to avoid this completely. I would do no thanks, but honestly, I don't think it's that horrible to the point where I would never want to use it. So, I'll put it in somewhat difficult. Definitely on the lower end. Like, it's not that bad, or as bad as Pipsqueak for me, or having no light rooms. Because I feel like having a wall dweller constantly, you might get distracted from paying attention to GOM, or being distracted from ads, or 3 AM challenge. It can be a real distraction, so that brings some risk. And like I said, it can kill you. It doesn't deal damage, it insta kills you. Porous walls. This is one well, besides the pure pandemonium combination that I did as a joke, I haven't used porous walls outside of that. And how porous walls works is um, all the entities can see through walls. So if you hide in like a side room in a corner, is like close to the pathing of an angler, you should die, right? That's what it should do. I'd assume it does. So you actually need to keep distance from anglers or use lockers, and also watch out in case a pandemonium spawns. I wouldn't combine porous walls with deception, which disguises pandemonium, or just pure pandemonium, unless you just like want to torture yourself, I guess. I don't think porous walls is bad. This is like 10%, right? Yeah, 10%. Um, I could use it. I don't really like it that much. I'll put it in like slight inconvenience, probably at the probably below Gom, just because of pandemonium being able to spawn in, and also don't combine porous walls with Pipsqueak, please. That's a horrible idea. Or is it? I mean, Pipsqueak's normal movement is quiet, but like he screams really loud if he sees you. So maybe it's actually not that bad of a combo. You get a good warning, but you'll have to be fast. Hot potato, another management modifier. Um, every once in a while, you'll hear beeping. You have like a little icon on your screen, a little white triangle with a potato on it. Basically, you need to crouch to deactivate a bomb that's counting down. I'd say it's easy to deal with. Yeah, I kind of make it a habit when I have hot potato on that I just crouch occasionally or pretty often, just on my own, even without a warning, just in case hot potatoes going off and I'm just not paying attention somehow. Just crouch every once in a while. You literally just crouch for like a split second and stand up. You lose no speed from that. You don't lose any time in your run from that. However, I'm actually not sure about this. With hot potato, if you go into a locker, I don't think, or from what I heard, I don't think it pauses the hot potato, so you still have to like get out and crouch because it's gonna blow you up. But if like a pandemonium spawns in with the minigame, I think that's the only time it pauses or just stops or something. I don't know. And also it stops if you step into water, I think. Definitely when you swim. I'm not sure about like water rooms that just slow you down when you walk into it. Like, for example, bottom feeder rooms that have water. It just slows you down, but you can't crouch. It shouldn't give it you hot potato then. Not sure. Anyway, I'd say it's easy to deal with. And then we have the two landmines. And I'm gonna go in order, which I've been doing from the start, but land yours, which makes landmines a lot more common in rooms. It just pay more attention to where you're walking. If you have dark rooms, have a light source. It might not be the best idea to combine this with budget cutbacks, but you can make it work. It's easy to deal with, I'd say. Yeah. And then there is, what was this? Explosive storage, which puts more mines into drawers. And again, it depends on what you're combining it with, because combining it with glue is a bad idea. So, on its own, or even with glue, it's slightly more risky, but I'd say it's still easy to deal with. Just expect a landmine to go out of a drawer like at any point and then back off in time. They're both easy to deal with. Subspace trip mines. So these replace the landmines with this thingy here, which becomes like really transparent. If you have these in like a dark room, or even in lit rooms, they're like kind of hard to see. They're not transparent, they're translucent. I think that's the correct word. I personally don't like using them. Honestly, I think it's a no thanks. I really just wouldn't want to use this. It can like catch me off guard. I might accidentally step onto it. I mean, I already stepped onto a landmine in the sewers once because it was too dark.
So did you?
So imagine how many issues this is gonna give me, especially combined with like watch your step. Horrible combination to have. Like this is one of the modifiers that I would go, oh god, conundrum. I failed the minigame. Please don't give me this. Also, how much percent is it? It's 10%. Yeah, not really worth it, especially not in combination. So yeah, and now we have friendly. Literally the best modifier ever. It's the freest 5% ever. From imaginary friends, you get a 5% referral kroner boost. So on top of having a 5% boost as a modifier. For every imaginary friend, you get another 5%. And you can have like up to 15% in referral boost with like 3 friends. Like that's a real thing. If you're playing with 3 actual friends of yours, real ones, with Roblox accounts, in the same game, you get a boost for Kroner for 5% for each. And imaginary friends also do that. It's pretty cool. So it's literally the freest Kroner ever. And on top of that, the more imaginary friends you have, the more consistent your spawn warnings are going to be if a node entity shows up. So it's super good to have. Unless for whatever reason you don't like the constant yapping of the imaginary friends. But if you can drown out the noise, best modifier ever. And then there's deception. How much is this? 10%? I'd say it's pretty free as well. How deception works is Pandemonium disguises themselves as another angler. However, the disguise is not that great. Like, it will kind of mimic the appearance, which I guess doesn't really matter because as soon as you see Pandemonium, it will probably see you as well. So, either you're dead or you're already going into a locker, or you're hiding. But it also tries to disguise the sound it makes, and you can very easily get used to the sound cues and figure out whether or not it's a real angler or a disguised Pandemonium. So it's pretty free, especially considering that Pandemonium is slow, so you get a lot of time to listen to the sound as well. Like even if like an angler takes a suspicious amount of time to show up, you're probably gonna think is this Chainsmoker or is this Pandemonium? And then there's Chaos. Oh boy, this is something. I've played this one a handful of times, just to get like the badge or trying to combo it for 4 stars. I'm not sure if I want to recommend this. Like a lot of the effects are pretty tame. Permanent speed boost, permanent slowness, uh, some speed, some slowness, spawn an entity, spawn a delayed entity. You know, those are not bad. The ones that are really bad is just like atomize everyone or spawn 5 node entities, and then you get like a combination of Chainsmoker and A200 and Pandemonium and whatnot. Oh, I let go accidentally. So sometimes it can screw you over. I have a clip, I still have it saved, where the effect name was just, I think it was called just everything or all or something. I don't remember the exact name, but it literally did every possible effect. Atomize everyone, flip the screen, Lobby, spawn 5 node entities, 5 random ones, spawn Pandemonium, spawn delayed Pandemonium, spawn A60, spawn delayed A60, Mirage, delayed Mirage, landmines, literally every effect that even started playing a copyrighted song. Like, honestly, I might put like an unlisted video in the description of what I'm talking about if I can find the clip. I'll just upload it unlisted, just so you know what I'm talking about, and so this video doesn't get copyright striked for music. So what it comes down to is this thing can just be an inconvenience. It can just ruin your entire run. So it's super random. If you're not doing like all or nothing where you can't revive yourself, it would be better. Like you might spend a revive against a really bad effect. Maybe if you have some friends with you, you can use defibrillators. You just gotta hope. You gotta hope that you're getting good effects or just tame ones, and then try to do the run as fast as possible, because the more time you spend in a run, the more of a chance you have that something bad is gonna happen. So I will, for now, I wouldn't say I would never use this, but I'm definitely gonna put this on like a high, somewhat difficult. You know, maybe I'm just gonna change it from somewhat difficult to just straight up difficult. Straight up difficult. Feel like that fits better. And pure Pandemonium, the one where Pandemonium always spawns in. I mean, of course, don't combine it with Porous Walls again, unless you're not taking the run seriously. But for 4 stars, actually, this is like an incredible modifier to use. Pandemonium is slow. You can use Pandemonium save spots. Don't use this. So, if we're trying to do 4 stars or TBRS, pure Pandemonium, it's like 40%, right? Yeah, it is super good. If you're okay with doing minigames sometimes, if you're good at finding Pandemonium safe spots, use it. It is great for 4 stars. And then 3 a.m. challenge, 25%, right? Yeah. So this is another management one. where you basically have to look around. Back when I did the TBRS video, 3 months ago, by the way, I don't know if things have changed by then, you had to like look where the witching hour spawns, and then once it backs off and is gone, you have to do like a 180. It's gonna spawn like back and forth, if that makes sense. So you have to look out for that. I'm not even sure how fast witching hour attacks, because back then I would like always look around, and then witching hour would be really small all the time, and eventually I would like bug it out with a pandemonium spawn, and then it's just gone for the entire run. So I'm not sure what the actual difficulty is, or if that bug where it just completely disappears is gone, and they fixed it, and now it's just active all the time. So if it's bugged, it is probably really free if you can get it to bug out consistently. If not, you gave yourself a pretty bad management modifier, and output it in difficult in that case. If it works as intended and it's active all the time, except for, pausing for pandemonium minigames, otherwise this thing would be a no thanks, but if it works as intended, difficult. I probably wouldn't want to use it. If it bugs out, it is super free. And since I experienced it to bug out, I'll put it in free kroner. But yeah, I if it works as intended, I would never say this is easy. It's super difficult probably. And then this is just called interloper, right? Yeah. So what it does, it spawns a slow Mr. Lopi at the start of the run, and it will follow you forever. And if it touches you, you die. That's it. I never played with it. I'd probably say it's a no thanks straight away. There can be like a couple things I can think of that will go wrong. Like, what if you have to do a pandemonium minigame and you sit still in a locker for like 40 something seconds and then Lopi catches up and kills you? Or what if the room generation like loops around in a circle and Lopi catches up again? That could be really bad too, so I don't think I'd want to use this ever. It seems super risky. And then not for broadcast, 40%. You get like what, 4 minutes and 20 seconds, I thought? Yeah, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. 40%, but it's accounted of 4 minutes and 43 seconds. Oh, but the timer appears then. Alright, yeah, you get like a little intro music. Alright, that makes sense. So 40%, you get a timer, and you have to, it starts at the ridge, to be clear. You have to beat the full game in 4 minutes. That would be a bit impossible. Good luck, speedrunners. But yeah, at the ridge, it's gonna play loud music, and everyone has to get to the end, of course, to disable modifiers with the button. It is probably a really difficult modifier to use for TBRS. If you have one person that is a little slow, then everyone dies. If you're personally good at the game and you can speedrun the ridge and your combinations are okay, it could be easy to deal with if you have like death mode and all that. It's a tricky one. If you're going for 4 stars, you have like a bunch of combinations, frequent spawns, mines to look out for, God knows what else. I would say this is difficult. You might be able to use it in a casual run that would be an easy to deal with. Like if this is one of the only modifiers, maybe have like friendly or sitcom or something like that, then this isn't really an issue. But let's be real, there's other options, and you're probably gonna only use this for 4 stars. So if it's TBRS, I would never use this. If it's for a 4-star run that I'm doing alone, not relying on other people, I might use it. Unless it's pure pandemonium as well, then never combines with pure pandemonium. You get like 1 pandemonium in the ridge, and either you have PSS, you die to pandemonium, or you end up in a locker and you spend 40 seconds in there, which wastes a lot of time, and the timer keeps counting down. So under the assumption that I'm trying 4 stars, on my own, I'm gonna put it in difficult. It is definitely a difficult one. Then Rat Race. Rat Race makes it so you spend research for like every step. However, any research that is picked up will be given to everyone. So if you pick up 50 research, everyone else gets 50 research as well. But you do still have like your own research that goes down when you take a step. Once you run out of research and you have to walk, I think you just lose HP, right? Yeah, health is deducted instead of the player has no research. I don't know if this is a good one to have. It's gonna make you spend like a lot of time looting and looking around. and that might waste a lot of time. You probably wouldn't want to do it if you have chaos enabled and all that. Or if you have not for broadcast, looting around and having to speedrun, not a great idea. I'm not sure if it's bad. Are the loot spawns increased as well, or yeah, pickups are increased by 50%. You get more loot than average. I think this is probably just a bad idea to use. I'm not sure if it's actually good. I haven't played with it, except for the one time that Conundrum activated it, and I ended up struggling a little. So probably not the best modifier. Yeah. And then noodle legs. And actually an easy one. Maybe even free. You know, I'm gonna put it in free. You ragdoll when you take damage, and I don't take damage often, and when I do, it's usually not in that dangerous of a scenario. Like, maybe 1 in 100 of my runs are gonna be ruined by noodle legs because I take damage and then a node entity shows up and kills me or something. It's not a bad modifier at all, it's pretty free. And then we have lock-in, and also all or nothing. Lock-in, what is that? It's like, if you're like at 50 doors in, yeah, dying before room 50 gives you less rewards, and then all or nothing just reduces your rewards if you die, and you can't revive unless you have a defib. I don't really use lock-in. Like, there's other options. I'll put this as a no thanks because I don't really need it often. Like, if I'm gonna need a high percentage, I'm gonna go for all or nothing. And all or nothing, it's not even difficult. It brings no difficulty. If you're doing a casual run, like a really casual one that has like barely any risk, I would use it, and it's free kroner. Alright, what was I saying? Sorry, I had to drink water, my voice was gonna run out. Yeah, it's free kroner for like a casual run if there's no risks, but I usually use this just as like a last bit of percentage for doing 4 stars. Yeah, there's no risk really. If I was doing TRS with this, and of course you can't revive on your own, so losing the ability to revive doesn't change the thing. Just have someone with a defibrillator and you're good. The only inconvenience though is you don't gain that much when you die and lose the run, but I'm sitting on like 20,000 kroner right now, so I don't really need to earn that much if I'm going for TBRS. I can afford to buy items at the start and not get that much rewards. So yeah, it's free kroner for a casual run and a nice last bit of percentage for 4 stars. I would definitely use this. Where's my cursor? Okay, never mind. Why does my cursor keep disappearing? Alright, this is like a new recording. Because originally, when I started making this video, the update got announced and all that. And by this time, it has already happened. This is August 3rd. So I had to like redo the tier list, put everything back in place, because originally I was gonna kind of guess what these entities were going to do, but I mean, now I know what they're gonna do, so I can actually like rate them properly. So I'm literally just putting a cut in the video, and I'm gonna continue from here instead of doing the recording where I just guessed. Makes sense? Alright, so this is Weeper, the Eden trees, and they replaced Elkman from Grace. And so basically when you walk into a room, there's a chance you see like a couple trees, like 2 or 3 of them, and one of them will fire a beam at you, and it will like distort your screen with static. So what you have to do is back off or just break line of sight, basically. You can do that by either just going back out of the room and then back in, or using other trees to block line of sight, or shelve. I think you can even like use a deep sea bunny to break line of sight, so that's kind of pay to win. I assume they will get fixed, like that has to be a bug. I heard that from someone else at least. I haven't tested it myself. I haven't played much of the modifiers. I just kind of know what they do. But yeah, honestly, at first I thought this would be like as easy as the Alchemist, where you just break a line of sight once and then you continue. But no, they are kind of persistent. Like they'll like the trees, they'll swap between which one attacks you, kind of. I don't know what the timing is of when they do it. Like I don't know if they have a certain cooldown or some separate timer on each tree. I really have no clue how that works. They seem to just kind of attack at random, which is actually kind of scary. I was gonna put this in like easy to deal with or free kroner. If it was Alchemist, it would have been pretty free, but honestly, it's probably like an easy or slight inconvenience. I don't remember how much percent this gives. I gotta look up, one moment. I gotta look up the modifiers again. Forgot to open that tab. Oh god, they haven't updated this? Well, that's not helpful. I think from what I can guess, it was like 10 or 15% from what from what I last saw. Assuming it's 10% for some kind of scary trees. I think on their own, I don't know, maybe, I will put them in inconvenience. I just thought of something. Depends on where I want to put it first. I'm gonna just put it in inconvenience. Just thought of something. Where should I put it first? Probably worse than the turret. So like they will basically occupy your room when you think about it. And let's say there's like a PSS there or something that you want to hide in, and then these trees are there, and you're like standing next to a locker or behind a crate, but that tree sees you. Like, what if Pandemonium passes by, but a tree starts firing that static beam at you? Like, what do you do then? Like, if there's really no way to block line of sight, and you're trying to dodge just an incoming entity, that could be really bad. I assume these will not attack you if you're in a locker. That would make a lot of sense if they don't do that. But yeah, the fact that they're actually active the entire time, or basically the entire time, just the room becomes unsafe. Kind of bad, to be honest. Yeah, that's what I think at least. And there's Colgate. I will not call this thing coagulate. I will call it Colgate. It's funnier that way. This is like some sort of well, this is the Doppel replacement, but it's like some sort of parasite. And instead of with Doppel like walking up to you, and if you stand still and it catches up, then your movement gets inverted, and you have like this black and white. It makes it harder to see. It gets like really dark. Instead, what this does is it kind of like takes over your character and will make you do like a bunch of random actions. Like it will randomly make you stand up or crouch or move your camera in all sorts of directions. It can even like interact or throw away items out of your inventory. It is bad when this gets you. It's even in the regular game, but for modifiers it just makes it more common. Honestly, I do not like this thing at all. Like the thing with Doppel is if it gets you, your screen, the drawbacks on it are not bad. It just visibility gets a little bit worse and your movement is inverted. That's it. That is not that harmful. This thing it can even like pull you out of lockers, kind of like what Paranoia does. It limits your time, like it will wait outside your locker. And this thing is active for such a long time. It can be activated so often, just back to back. It makes you like constantly have to move. I don't like it, honestly. I'll put it in difficult. Like it's probably on the lower end of difficult, but it's still difficult. Especially like do not combine it with this fish thing, because this Colgate will force you to move, and the fish will attack you if you move. So like these two horrible combination. Don't do it. But like even then, it can spawn naturally without the modifier, just less chance. I don't feel like that should be a thing. I feel like this thing should just be restricted to modifiers. Maybe that's just because I don't like it personally. I also don't have much experience with these creatures. Like, maybe there's a mechanic where I can just move around a bunch and like fight back or something, and then the thing gets off of me, but like, it lasts like so long. I want to say like 15 seconds, like when it gets to you, you kind of just screwed for like 15 seconds. Progressing through rooms becomes way harder because you just randomly start crouching and standing and being pushed into random directions. Yeah, I just wouldn't use this. And then the bobber fish. Go fishing is the name of the gone fishing. I'm thinking of Go Fish from Inscription, the OST, the soundtrack. But yeah, this is gone fishing. This is the dozer replacement. And I feel like the devs are just a little evil with this update. Like, Colgate is already difficult. Eden trees are just more difficult than Elkman. Just not by that much, but still. And then they add this fish, which is actually evil. Not because it's difficult per se, but they made it so that instead of having to crouch and stand still, you just have to stand still. If you crouch, even if you're not moving, this thing attacks you for 45 damage. It's like the developers know that some players are gonna think, this is the dozer replacement, it will have the same mechanic. And then you just make it so that crouching punishes you. What a joke. What a joke. If you don't combine it with Colgate, this thing is probably just an inconvenience. It's not the same as Dozer, because when Dozer appears, he shows on screen for like a second, does his look thingy, he checks if you're standing still and crouching, then he disappears. That's it. It takes like 3 seconds or something. This fish, it can dangle on your screen for like 10 seconds and do nothing before it finally starts looking. So it kind of just keeps you waiting for when he finally like decides to check, which is harder. It kind of makes you have to either be very safe and stand still somewhere, or you have to hope it doesn't attack you while you're walking and have to do something. What was the percentage for this? I think it's like 15%, if I remember correctly. I'll put it somewhere around like Conundrum. By the way, Conundrum got removed. They're gonna get a replacement, so I guess I can still rate this. But this video, it's probably gonna get outdated. I mean, Eden Trees, Modifiers, Colgate, these two. Actually, this isn't even a great replacement, but they all got reworked. It wasn't just a reskin. They actually have like their own mechanics now. Conundrum will probably have the same thing and be a bit different. So this could get outdated. Might be more difficult. Unless the devs decide to be nice for once. Or I just have a skill issue. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, fish, inconvenient. It stays on screen for too long, man. Come on. Kitty clock. This one actually is maybe easier, I'd say. Like with Doombringer, with the Joey rat, it was 20%. This is also 20%. But the clock is actually easier. Like what Doombringer did is he would randomly start screaming and then you have to shut him up. Like it could happen anytime, unless there's like mini games happening and you're in a locker. But how the clock works is you have these two clock hands, right? Basically the big arrow counts as seconds. It goes like all the way around them and it loops it back to 12. Then it starts ringing and will deplete your HP really fast. So you have to like wind it back slowly. The issue is if you wind it back too far, it will break off the winding thing at the back, and then you're basically dead because you cannot set it back anymore. So don't wind it back too far, and don't let it run all the way to 12. You have to keep managing it. But the thing that's good about that is you actually have more control of when it goes off. Like, instead of an angler showing up and you're about to hop in a locker, then Joey starts screaming right as you enter the locker, and you could potentially get your head blown off. Like, here, you can stand in front of the locker, wind the clock back a little bit, and make sure to time it right and not break it. And then hop in the locker, and then you know this thing is gonna be counting, but like, you just set it back, so it won't go off while you're in the locker. Like, that's the good thing about it. I think once you get used to winding the clock back properly, you don't break it, and you don't wait it out. If you get used to it, it can be easy to deal with. I gotta hope, though, that this thing actually pauses during a Pandemonium minigame. I assume it does. It has to, right? If it doesn't do that, then it's obviously honestly a no thanks. Well, no, maybe a difficult. You'd basically be forced to look for a Pandemonium safe spot. That's not impossible. Just don't combine it with pure Pandemonium at that point, but it should pause during minigames, like everything else does. If you other management modifier. And then we have Cereal, it's 5%. I heard that this creature can also spawn in the regular game, and this modifier is supposed to increase the spawn. I'm not sure if that's actually the case, because I didn't see that in the event on Roblox or in the update notes on the Discord server. Because it says that for Colgate, that he can spawn naturally, but it doesn't say that for the Skinless Corpse. So whether it's true or not, I don't know. And what I heard with that is that this creature doesn't damage you unless you use the modifier. You just get blinded. Again, no idea if that's true. No, I don't really have to worry about that. After all, this is the modifiers tier list, so I can assume this is going to be an active modifier. So I can just rate that. This deals 35 damage and blinds you. How it works is it spawns this creature in a room, and if you look at it, it will charge at you really quickly. You have to look away. Like, this is the opposite of a wall dweller. Instead of a wall dweller spawning behind you, and you have to look at it to make it go away, this thing will spawn in front of you, and you have to look away. So it despawns. It will just, like, snap out of existence when you look away, basically. You have to be pretty quick on the timing there. This thing can be a distraction sometimes. I had, like, this thing spawn in 3 rooms. Probably, like, the first 10 when I played this modifier. Like the first 10 rooms in the game, it spawned like 3 times. It was so common. So be aware. Maybe I just got unlucky with that. No idea what the spawn rates actually are, but you gotta have some quick reaction speed and just expect this thing to be behind every door potentially, and look at it and look away. If you get used to that, it could be easy. This is just like me setting expectations for when I master this modifier or something. I don't know. Currently, I don't know how to deal with it well. I think it could be easy to deal with if I lock in, but if not, it might be like a slight inconvenience. I'll just put it there. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be good at countering this creature or will be very distracted trying to play the game. So I'll just put it here. Slight inconvenience. Clock I can see myself get used to. Yeah, that's the tier list. Oh, actually, wait. I'm gonna put witching hour actually in difficult. Let's see here. Probably better than chaos. Yes. At least the nice thing is that witching hour and ads can work together now. I saw at least in the notes that there was apparently it was a bug. Like witching hour would not pause when you had ads playing, but now it's supposed to pause witching hour when an ad is active. So now you can use them together and not have to worry. Tower can finally play the game. And now I think that's it. So yeah, that's what I think of the modifiers. And also here's a list of how I rated each of them, because I'm sure the icons aren't that helpful. But anyway, that's it for this video. Please check out the GoFundMe in the description if you can. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And thank you for watching.